Alright, so this is just a quick update. We've been stuck on standstill for 3 days, waiting on suspension bushings, the ones that we ordered. For whatever reason, the kit was only for one set of springs, and it was mispackaged. So it had to go back, we had to order a new kit, and then we had to order 2 of that new kit. So what we ended up doing is we got all the spring eye bushings out. So this is your front rear, the rear spring eyes on the front rear, the front spring eyes on the back rear have a metal shell inside them, and then a bushing with a steel sleeve. We could not get these bolts out. We tried pressing them out. We ended up just cutting them. They're just bolts. Use grade 5, grade 8, or you can buy them online, actual bolt kits. So what we did was we even tried pressing the bushings out. That wasn't happening on this particular vehicle. So we took the acetylene torch, we heat the spring eye up real good, which sets the rubber on fire. You get it good and hot, let it burn for 5 minutes or so. Make sure you're wearing jeans, shoes, preferably leather boots, leather gloves, long sleeve shirt, or some type of like a welding jacket. Wear safety glasses, because when this stuff is burning, it's popping. And when it's popping, you're getting little pieces of molten rubber flying all over the place. You do not want that in your eyes. Wear a hat, cheap baseball cap, whatever. Safety, 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 because you can get seriously hurt with the this burning rubber just popping and flying all over the place. Also, make sure you have a garden hose and it's turned on, it's ready to go, because you don't need to hose this down, but you just need a quick squirt and it'll put the fire right out when you're ready to drive these out. You don't want to drive them out while they're on fire and have a flaming chunk of rubber go flying across your yard and set something else on fire. Anyway, back to this. So we heat it up good, let this burn. Once this burns and it's burned for a little bit, we take an air hammer, some type of a chisel. This is just a blunt pin, and drive this right out. What you're left with on the rear spring eyes on the front rear and the front spring eyes on the back rear is a metal shell. So to get this metal shell out, we'll take this style chisel bit. You see it's got a weird thing there. I think this is for cutting sheet metal or something like that, but it's weird because there's no actual sharpness to it. So we'll take that, and where your spring eye wraps around, you'll see that there's, we'll say, a crack there. Well, that's just the seam where the spring eye wraps around and comes together. So what we'll do is we'll get this, we'll hook between the sheet metal and the spring eye where this groove is, because there's a little gap there, and we'll just try and drive straight through. And what you're doing is you're end up cutting, that's what this slot is. You're cutting a slot into this so that this will collapse inward. If you get lucky while this, and you do this fast enough while it's still hot, it'll just catch at some point and drive this shell right out. Makes it easy. If you don't get lucky, then you end up having to go back and go in on an angle, grab parts of the shell on either side of where you cut it, and bend it inward using the chisel tool. And at some point you'll be bending it inward, and then it'll decide it's going to drive out, because what you're doing is reducing the outside diameter of this piece of sheet metal that the shell's made out of. Piece of tubing, whatever you want to call it. So that's the rear ones. On the front ones here, same thing, but there's no outer metal shell. And the ones inside the frame should look like these probably too. These might be replacements. It says Clevite on the inside, so I don't know if these are some type of replacement factory rubber ones or some type of really old poly, but that's how it looked on the outside. That's not from us burning it. We were able to drive these out. I don't even know if we burned these. We may have burned one and then realized that they were like this in two halves, and we just took that blunt pin and just drove the against this center sleeve, which drove the sleeve out with one of the bushings, and then went back in from the other side and just popped the other bushing out, because these front ones definitely come apart way easier. So that's what we got done as far as that goes. We cleaned up the springs, we cleaned up the rears, we cleaned up the rest of the frame. So the second half of the frame that I was showing in the other video with the jetting nozzle, we did end up having to cut out that center trans cross member bolt hole, and I patched it there. All of these now have, all the transmission cross member bolt holes now have brand new grade 8 riv nuts in them. We've gone ahead and cleaned up the frame, wire wheeled it, wire brushed it, whatever, from end to end, and it's all primed and painted except for where the motor mounts need to get welded back on. So, I mean, this is basically what we're using to clean stuff up. You get a power drill, use these things on a power drill, do stuff by hand, take a grinder, you can use a knot wheel. Again, wear gloves, wear safety glasses, because the wire comes flying off of these sometimes. And do not wear a loose shirt, because you get close to this, and you've got a loose t-shirt, it'll suck that t-shirt right up against here, and it'll twist it up in there and pull it against your body and hurt you. So here's our front motor mounts. They're already, I got those prepped, they're ready to go on. And they and even though I can see where they cut the motor mounts off of here, you know, basically this goes back on like this. I'm not burning these on until I have the powertrain set on there with these, to make sure we're absolutely sure that we are in the right spot. So, like I said, we got the rears and the frame cleaned up, painted. They're ready to go back on. So as bushings show up. I did some cutting work on the body over here. So I cut in the inside of the firewall. That way when we are ready to put the dash and everything in, the firewall is already cut in and painted. We're going to end up doing some bed liner in here. So we've got to remove the rear wheel wells, the rear fender flares, and then there are rubber liners inside the rear wheel wells. Those need to get removed because we can't get these bolts to come out that hold the roll bar on, so I'm going to have to heat them from behind, and then they probably should come right out. Remove the roll bar, finish cleaning the inside of the tub. We're going to bed liner the inside of the tub, probably with a product a buddy of mine uses at his company. It's called Scorpion X02, I believe. So we're going to use that, and then we'll put the, paint the roll cage, put the roll cage back in, put everything back together. So that's where that's going to go. We're also going to chase all the threads for the body mounts, all that. Once the bushings show up for these rears, we can get the rears put back in. The brake lines, the parking brake lines can get hooked back in where they're supposed to go. I believe I also have bushings coming for the sway bar and the end links. So that'll get removed, cleaned up, put back in. Once the rears are in, we'll get the trans cross member put back in. And we'll get the powertrain set on. Then I'll get the these mounts tacked in real good, pull the powertrain back off, fully burn in the mounts, clean those areas on the frame, get them prime painted, and then we will take and install the stainless steel hardline kit from Dorman that we purchased. So this is the kit we purchased, 919237. This should be a full stainless hardline kit for the frame, and the axles and everything. So all the brakes will be hooked up, except for up top here, you'll just have 3 lines sticking up that'll be capped off, waiting for the body to be put back on to hook those lines to the proportioning valve. So once all the brakes are plumbed, then we will set the powertrain back in for the last time, put the drive shafts in, which we've already cleaned and painted, so they're ready to go back in. And then we'll just start working on the tub until we get the tub on. I'm hoping to have the tub on, have a grill on with the radiator, and have this running in by the end of the week. We'll see where that goes, because I know the particular bed liner that we're going to be using, I believe, while it's got a pretty quick recoat time, if you want to build it up more, I believe it has to dry overnight or something like that. It's been a while since I've been at my buddy's shop when he was doing this stuff. So that's where we are, and that's where we're going. So moving forward, like I said, we're just waiting on bushings. Sucks to be waiting on bushings to hold up the whole job, but sometimes that's how it goes. Now, I know I saw people mention about using like POR 15. Real quick, I've used it in the past. I don't like it. For up here in the Northeast, for a vehicle that you're going to drive, it might be okay for a trailer queen, I don't know. But we've tried it before. We bought all their stuff, followed the instructions perfectly, done everything that they say to do, and after one winter, forget it. It starts to peel off in sheets, because all it takes is one little chip or nick in that, and the salt, the brine, it gets underneath of it, and it just runs. It's the same as powder coat. I do not use powder coat, not in the Northeast, because as soon as you get a chip in it, same thing. You get, if you drive it in the winter at all, when they've got the brine on the roads here, which is basically they're spraying the roads with salt water to keep the roads from freezing up. Well, that gets in everywhere. It gets inside your frame. It gets anywhere that water is going to get. A fine mist of water when you're driving down the road. So if you have a little chip or something, a little nick in your paint, it gets under there and it will run. And when I say run, it'll start here and it'll just become very rapidly, it'll bubble all this up, and then this stuff will peel off in sheets, and it'll cause a lot more damage to the frame. Obviously a lot of people like it, a lot of people use it, powder coating and POR 15. I'm not a fan. I prefer using Rust-Oleum. I use regular plain Rust-Oleum. So this is the same stuff you could buy in the quarts. Sometimes I will just buy the quarts. So I'll clean everything up. I'll use this brown primer for rusty metal. Once it's cleaned up, I'll also use this rust reformer. It's supposed to kill the rust. I've had good luck with this. I'll use the self-etching primer. The rattle cans make it convenient, but I will also, like I said, I'll get this primer in 1/4 gallon, mix it up good. I could thin it out a little bit with some lacquer thinner, spray it in a spray gun, an HVLP gun. The same with the black. This is what we're using now, just because I'm trying to not get paint all over my concrete I had done last year. And then plus it says it dries in 15 minutes. I don't know that it dries in 15 minutes. Maybe tacky to the touch in 15-20 minutes if you're not in the sun. Or a lot of times, I'll just buy a quart. I'll just buy a quart, mix it good, thin it out a tiny bit, spray it with the spray gun. Spray the rears with the spray gun, spray the frame with the spray gun. And you know what? If it gets a nick or a chip or looks like you're starting to rust somewhere, you wire brush it. A little bit of the rust killer or the brown primer, and you can touch it up with some paint. You're not doing that with powder coat, that's for sure. Plus the Pour 15, I believe it says it can't be exposed to UV, which means you have to paint over it anyway. I don't know. This is what has worked for me over the decades. That's what I do. That's what I use. It's as long as you use the good paint. It takes a little while to dry sometimes, but it is what it is. If you're in that much of a rush, I don't know what to tell you. I also do use their. You get the stuff you get in a rattle can. Let me see. I got it somewhere here. There's the 2X paint. I think it's called Rust-Oleum. There you go. This stuff works great too. You get great coverage out of it. I'm not so sure about using it on metal that has had rust or stuff like that, but I've used this on a lot of things. You can get a lot of good colors with this, and it's great coverage. Plus, it works on plastic. So I've had really good results with that Rust-Oleum, and that Rust-Oleum in particular does dry really fast. So that's my little spiel for the day on products and stuff, none of which I am not sponsored by anybody. This is just me doing stuff and putting some information out there that hopefully gives you all some guidance, some ideas. You know, everything is do at your own risk. I'm not telling you that my way of doing it is the only way of doing it. It's just I've been here before, I've done these before, and you know, this is what has worked for me in the past. So, and it's the easiest way that I know to do the stuff. The easiest way, the safest way, and the most inexpensive way, and still get a quality result. So, hopefully, the next video you see, we will have the axles in, the powertrain will be done, and we will have moved on to the body tub. If you find my videos interesting, like and subscribe.